It's time for War Games, and let's talk predictions.
The Rock says, The Rock, The Rock says,
Welcome back to another episode of FPW, the Flash Pro Wrestling Show. I am your host, Chris Flash, and here we talk pro wrestling. If you have not subscribed to the channel, if you have not joined the Flash family, make sure you pause the video, go ahead and do that, and let's get right into the video and let's talk predictions. All right, so we're going to dive right into it. The first match we're going to talk about is the United States Championship match, LA Knight taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, this match, I don't really see a lot coming out of it. I could see this match being like one of those middle of the card type of matches. It's a new look, it's a new leaf on Shinsuke. Well, I won't even say a new leaf. It's not even really a repackage. It's kind of it's kind of the same character that he had when he took on Cody Rhodes. I need to see Shinsuke pick up a win. I don't think this is something that needs to be drawn out. It's not something that Shinsuke needs to be fed to LA Knight. I think LA Knight has had his time with the championship. You know, he's had enough time to customize the strap of the title. You know, he took the title off of Logan Paul. He's had it since SummerSlam. And I think I think Shinsuke needs a definitive run. As I said before in the previous video, he was Intercontinental Champion for it seemed like a year and a half, and you never really seen him defend it. He never got his world title run. So this version of him, I think would look good, you know, going up against, even if LA Knight was to lose the championship and then try to get a rematch at a Saturday Night Main Event. I think that'd be a good look. But I think Shinsuke needs something to hold on to. Otherwise, really, why is he there? So with that being said, my heart wants to say Shinsuke Nakamura and my brain wants to say LA Knight. But just for the sake of controversy and going against the underdog, I'm going to say Shinsuke Nakamura is going to take this one. Next up, we have the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship, and we've got Braun Breaker, Sheamus, and Ludwig Kaiser. Okay, I think it's a pretty safe bet that everybody wants to see Sheamus win here. I think it's pretty obvious that Braun Breaker doesn't need the Intercontinental Championship to make him. I think he's, from what I can see from him in the ring, I think he's pretty much ready to go ahead and go to the main event level. I mean, I can imagine seeing him going into a program with Gunther, which was the direction they were planning on going until the whole idea of Goldberg kind of came into the fray. So I think this would be a good time to take the belt off of him, put it on Sheamus, and Braun can kind of go and prepare himself for the main event thing, maybe even interfere in the Gunther and Damian Priest match. But I don't think Gunther's really going to let that happen. He's really trying to right all of his wrongs and prove that he can defeat everyone by himself. And I like that. So with that being said, it seems like the feud is between Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus. So ideally, they would probably cancel each other out. But I would much rather see Sheamus pick up the win here, become Intercontinental Champion, and finally get his hands on the one championship that's eluded him his entire career. And that can make for a much better story going into, maybe even Royal Rumble. Could you imagine, a scene of Kaiser being Intercontinental Champion, possibly, and Gunther being World Champion? In between that could be a perfect time for Sheamus to be Intercontinental Champion as well. So everyone is happy. So I'm going to go with Sheamus to become the new IC champ. Next up, man, we are going through these. Next up, we've got the World Championship match, as I mentioned, Gunther taking on Damian Priest. So here's the thing about this, right? I don't like the build for this match. Now, I get it. You got to make Damian Priest look as strong as possible, especially going up against someone like a Gunther. And the story kind of makes sense that, you know, he hasn't been himself, and he doesn't really seem as intimidating, if you will, since that loss in Saudi Arabia to Cody Rhodes. Even though the crown jewel mattered, but it didn't matter. Like they never even mentioned the fact that Cody is the inaugural crown jewel champion. Yet they announce that all the time for Liv Morgan. I find that to be odd, but whatever. So Gunther twice has been taken down, and this is, mind you, this is the go home episode of Raw that just passed, and he got put through a table. The week before that, he got knocked out backstage, and both times he tried to jump Damien, but Damien found a way to get the upper hand. So, and anybody that watched wrestling knows on the go home angle, if whoever is holding up the title is usually the person that's gonna lose, right? So Damien held up the title here. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Damien's gonna lose. I don't see for any reason them taking the championship off of Gunther and putting it back on Damian Priest. I don't see why that would make sense from a business standpoint, let alone from an in-ring standpoint. And so this could be a way to get into a more vicious side of Gunther that we've seen before. A Gunther that we saw in NXT UK, a Gunther that we saw. This would be the perfect time to get Gunther back into his Walter mode. Now, he doesn't have the size that he once did when he was Walter, but imagine the viciousness that he once had. And maybe he has lost a step in that category. He's still amazing, from a technical standpoint. He can finish a match with pretty much anything, but maybe he can up the viciousness, possibly. I don't know. I don't feel like he's necessarily as the much more brutal wrestler that he was when he was under the moniker of Walter, or even when he first started out as Gunther. So maybe this could be a way to kind of not refresh him, but get him back to his old ways. And I'm looking forward to this match. I'm looking forward to see what they pull out, because Gunther matches are always amazing. They're really putting a lot of stock into Damian Priest. At least that's what the backstage reports say. And yeah, I think he can make for a good match. But all in all, I think Gunther's going to retain here. And it's time for War Games. We're going to start out with the women's War Games match. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. It was Jade Cargill, now Bayley. Get well soon, Jade. Io Sky and Naomi taking on Women's World Champion Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. First of all, I'm happy for Candice LeRae. This is her second, maybe third War Games match. So out of all of them, I believe she has the most experience. Her and Io. As a matter of fact, Bianca has been in a couple, and I want to say Rhea may have been in two. This is a new arena, I think, for Naomi. I think Liv Morgan, definitely Tiffany Stratton. So I'm interested to see what they put together in this match. War Games can be a complicated match to build, especially from a viewer standpoint, because you have to have this long, stretched out brawl, essentially, because the match doesn't start until everyone has entered the ring, and at that point, it could end at any second. And so there's a story there. There's emotion tied in there, because the baby faces normally have the disadvantage. In this match, they don't, but there's always a way that they can figure out. Like, typically, if the baby faces have the advantage, sometimes like the heels will take out one of the members of the other team to kind of give the advantage back to them. It's always something like that. So I'm interested to see how they're going to make a babyface advantage War Games match work this time around. The most interesting part here is you have both women's champions from both brands on the same team, and for whatever reason, I still feel like Rhea Ripley and Bianca's team is going to be the ones to win here. And what worries me about that is, what does that say about your women's champions? I personally don't think, if you have the two top champions in a specific division on the same team, there should be no time that they should lose unless it's in a tag team affair against the tag team champions. Just because of dynamic, and that's not normally what they do. They're used to being singles competitors. It doesn't make sense for them to be a tag team specialist. In this case, I think Rhea's team is going to win here. Do I think they should win? No. I think this should be another little wrinkle in the story that is Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, which has been going on entirely too long. But this could be the final match until we get to the one-on-one match that we need to have between Rhea and Liv, and that's it. As a matter of fact, how would you guys book the final Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley match for the World Championship? Would you do it in a steel cage? Would you do it in Hell in a Cell? Would you do it in a ladder match? How would you build that out? And as a matter of fact, how would you build it out, and who would you have win? Would you have Liv conquer Rhea once and for all, or would you finally put the title back on Rhea and let her continue her reign of terror that she was on the entire year prior? So, like I said, I think Liv Morgan and her team should win, just given who's on the team. And Tiffany Stratton is there. So, if let's say if Nia was to be the one that takes the pin, Tiffany could always cash in. And this could be going into Saturday Night Main Event, a rematch between Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax to go into the Netflix era, going to the top of the year, going to Royal Rumble time. It's a lot of story there. So, in that regard, just because I want to see Tiffany finally cash in, okay, we'll have Rhea and Bianca win. But in my mind, I think the people that should win is Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, just because I think the baby faces on the men's side are going to win. Should they win? No. But do I think they are going to win? Yes. And I don't think it should be both baby faces teams winning here. So it's tough. I'm going to go with the safe bet. I'm going to say Rhea Ripley on this one. And last but not least, we've got the men's War Games match, the much anticipated Bloodline Silver. I cannot say that. Bloodline Civil War Games match. This has been the most complicated War Games match build I have ever seen. Like, it started out, okay, it's going to be 4v4. Well, no, it's not going to be 4v4. Okay, so Hikuleo and Zilla Fatu is going to come in. But Zilla Fatu isn't signed to WWE. Hikuleo isn't even started in NXT yet. So who are we going to get? Bronson Reed? What did that? CM Punk? Okay, CM Punk kind of makes sense. And that could be a match down the road that they could then tie this little piece into. This could be a little wrinkle. Okay, I can see why that can make sense, and that could be kind of cool. Bronson Reed he just looks cool with the bloodline. And I've said this before. What happens after War Games? Does Bronson make his appearance felt on SmackDown from time to time to help Solo? What does that look like? Because he fully acknowledges Solo. CM Punk. Now, CM Punk said he did acknowledge Roman, but CM Punk ain't throw up no ones. Now, granted, this is filmed before the Go Home episode of SmackDown, so maybe we could see that. I know it was taped. I know what happened, but I'm not going to spoil it here. So that's a big question to me. And the same story that's been going into all the tag team matches between these two bloodlines is Solo's team has been on one accord. They have been together. They have been on the same page, whereas Roman's team has not. And I do not feel that even though CM Punk has entered the fray, I don't think he's on the same page as Roman. I think CM Punk is on the same page as Paul. And as long as Paul is involved, he's going to do what he needs to do to help Paul. He doesn't care about Roman. He doesn't care about the Usos. He doesn't care about their family. I don't care what happened after SmackDown went off the air. From a storyline perspective, why does CM Punk need to actually care about the bloodline business? Technically, he doesn't. But all in all, I think after Roman got pinned in Saudi Arabia, do you have him pick up the win here? And if he does, because this match is very definitive in the Bloodline versus Bloodline story. This is a chapter that is going to be looked back upon for however long this story goes on for. This is, in my mind, this is going to be a very pivotal moment in all of this. Does The Rock show back up? If Roman and his team does win, what does that mean for the tribal chief status of Solo? Does Solo sacrifice a member of his bloodline to pick up the win? Does Solo sacrifice himself, right? Do the babyface's corner one of Solo's teammates, and Solo takes the bullet for one of them and takes the pin, showing that no matter what, he always has his tribe's back. Something that Roman has never done. And if Roman does win, does that make him the new tribal chief? If it does make him the new tribal chief, what does that mean for the rest of the story? Because technically, doesn't that mean that it's all over? Or does he then make his focus towards Cody? Because technically, we know that Roman's probably going to be in the Royal Rumble. If Roman wins, who does he go after? So there's so many implications. There's so many questions that's going to come out of War Games, and I'm so excited for the review episode I'm going to be putting up, because I want to talk about what transpired in that specific match and what implications that could mean going into 2025, going into WrestleMania season, and where does that put every single individual character within this match. So who do I think should win? Who do I think is going to win? I've said this before. I like to see the destruction, not destruction. Destruction is a strong word. I like to see the downfall of Roman, because I like to see the layers of character work that he's forced to come up with on the opposite spectrum of this, knowing who you once were, but understanding that who you once were can't take you past this current threat. You have to change. You have to be something else. And until you're willing to change, you will not be victorious. It doesn't matter how many battles you win, you're going to continuously lose the war. So with that point, I have to say that the heels pick up the win here. The new bloodline picks up the win here. I think that's more interesting. But it's also very interesting if the baby faces win. So I think we're in for a treat no matter which way it goes. But I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna be controversial, and I want to know what you guys are gonna say in the comments. So I'm gonna go with the new bloodline picking up the win here. The odds are stacked up against Roman. He has been defeated twice, and I would even say Roman should take the pin here again, because what does that do to the psyche? I have my entire bloodline back. Paul, my wise man, is back in my corner, and I still can't get past them. What is the problem? I need to see that psychological breakthrough happen for Roman, and that is how he's going to get to this new age, this new stage of being the OTC versus just being the tribal chief, because he still kind of moves as if he's the tribal chief and not the OTC. In my mind, I like to think that the OTC is a totally separate character role than the tribal chief. I think the tribal chief's motivations, Solo's version of the tribal chief motivations, are different than Roman's motivations of the OTC, right? So I'm gonna go with the heels here. I'm gonna go with the new bloodline picking up the win. Roman taking the pin, that's just bonus points. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I would like to see how that goes. And does CM Punk turn on Roman? You got to think about that too. But that is it for today's episode. That is it for my predictions. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Leave your predictions. How would you book out this entire War Games match? Are you satisfied with the match card? Obviously, the two War Games matches make sense, but would you interchange any of the matches at all? Would you interchange any of the people involved with the matches? Would you have Cody Rhodes actually defending the championship on this card? And what do you think about him not defending the championship until Saturday Night Main Event? Are you cool with that? What are you saying on that? So, like I said, let me know in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button. I hope you guys enjoy Survivor Series. I hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe during the holidays, and I'll see you down the road. And as always, be safe, be blessed, be kind. Peace.
The Rock says,